Hello, this is Doug Bradley bidding you welcome as Spinechillers reaches double figures. But before we dive into the batch of tales gathered for this 10th volume, I would like to offer a few words of introduction about the stories and their authors. We begin in 1926, the year in which the 36-year-old Howard Phillips Lovecraft returned to his hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, following his brief translation to New York and the breakup of his not particularly successful marriage to Sonia Green. It's also the year in which he wrote our first story, The Strange High House in the Mist. Indeed, we can apparently be as specific as saying that the story was written on November the 9th of that year. It's been suggested that The Strange High House is one of Lovecraft's stories to be very heavily influenced by the writings of Alfred Lord Dunsany, whose work he had discovered in 1919 and which hit Lovecraft, in his own words, like an electric shock. It may also have been modelled on a specific geographical location, which Lovecraft is known to have visited, a headland in Gloucester, Massachusetts, known as Mother Ann, famous because, from a distance and viewed at the right angle, it resembles a woman in Puritan clothing and cap lying down, though how exactly that would be supposed to have influenced the present story I would frankly be at a loss to tell you. Any imposing headland would have done, it seems to me. However that may be, the location for the story is the fictional town of Kingsport on the New England coast, which we visited already in Volume 8 for Lovecraft's 1920 tale, The Terrible Old Man, which was read for us by Robert Englund. In fact, the Terrible Old Man appears as a character in The Strange High House. Fans of Lovecraft will be familiar with his original mythologizing and his creation of invented gods. But here, the specific deities named are not fictional. Neptune, I'm sure all of you will be familiar with as the trident-wielding, conch-blowing Roman god of the sea. Less familiar, perhaps, will be the name of Nodens. August Derleth elevated him to occupy a place as the leader of the elder gods in the so-called Cthulhu mythos of Lovecraft. But Nodens was, in fact, a Celtic deity associated with the sea, as well as with healing and hunting. A first-century temple dedicated to him has been discovered in Lydney, in the county of Gloucestershire, in England, where excavations have revealed votive tablets offering vows and prayers to the god, and a mosaic floor depicting him riding through the waves on a chariot. The Tritons mentioned by Lovecraft in the story were mermen and women who acted as kind of outriders to the gods. The Strange High House in the Mist did not meet with instant favour. Initially rejected by Weird Tales before being published there for the first time in 1931, with Lovecraft receiving the princely sum of $55 for his troubles. It was adapted as a graphic novel in 2009 by Jim Thompson, and we at Renegade are all agreed that he did a fine job. And you can judge that for yourself by visiting www.mockman.com, M-O-C-K-M-A-N, mockman.com. Like most of Ambrose Bierce's stories, A Diagnosis of Death was probably written between 1882 and 1896. Precise dates are hard to come by. But whereas most of his stories debuted in the San Francisco Examiner, for whom Bierce worked as journalist and editor, Diagnosis was first published in the New York Journal on December the 8th, 1901, and in book form in his self-edited collected works, published in 1909. It's a typically terse offering from Mr. Bierce, but, as usual, what it lacks in length it more than makes up for in atmosphere. Being given notice of your imminent demise by your doctor may be bad enough, but when the warning is delivered by a clinician who has already shuffled off his own mortal coil, what then? The Cask of Amontillado forms one-third of a kind of trilogy in the work of Edgar Allan Poe, alongside The Telltale Heart and The Black Cat. All three stories are notable for being first-person murder narratives, in which Poe gives us no clear information about who the narrator is or to whom the narrative is being addressed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?